to negotiate payment terms.
Okay.
Perhaps up front they would want money cash on delivery, but you could get to 30 days or 60 days as things go by, and that allows you to roll your money. So if you've got 100,000 left in the kitty to buy a stock, if you can roll that for 30 days, you can get paid by the client while you've still, without putting the money, well, you'd have to spend some of it, but the stock wouldn't cost you, because by the time the client settled with you within 30 days, then you could pay the supplier.
Okay.
So it's important to have good relations, identify some good suppliers, some companies that supply you with equipment, and build a relationship with it.
Okay, so we've renewable business. We're buying stock. We've identified our suppliers.
You need training.
We need training for owner and some of the staff, right? This is what installation and all of that stuff, right? So now we're moving to finding customers.
Yep.
Okay.
Now we're moving to market segment. So we look at the market. Free State is huge on its own, but we need to segment our market. We've got CNI, we've got utility scale, we've got residential. So our target market is residential because, we've got 250. So we need to start with your 5 kilowatt, your 3 kilowatt, solar installation. So that's going to be our market. We are also looking at ensuring that we collaborate with well-established installers, number one, to gain experience from them, number two, to have them take us to their bigger projects so that we can move from residential to maybe CNI space or small businesses that are maybe sharing a space to run their operations. And that's the marketing part and collaboration part of it. And there's Standard Bank. We will speak to Standard Bank to make sure that we also get customers from their, what do they call it? Powerhouse.
Yes.
Powerhouse. Because if we are able to make it to their database, we are then able to see some of their clients that are banking with them could be our clients.
So we're jumping onto a preferred supplier list.
That kind of a thing.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Ambitious.
All right. Okay, so we've got market segment. We've got collaboration. What are we moving to?
So from
How do we manage the business finances?
So from the finance position is basically to make sure that the business model that we built is actually, the assumptions are credible. So all the assumptions in terms of like the supply chains, that are the assumptions that are built in the route to market, access to market and everything, and then the growth of the business are actually credible, because that is the piece of information that we, remember we've been given the 250 as an equity, and then we know that the market in the renewable energy space is actually currently gearing up to, like, say, even up to 80%, from 60 to 80%. So we will use that to actually have a credible conversation with the Standard Bank to say this is the business model is in this way and is built from the credible business drivers, and then for that reason, and then the ESG will come and build their case, but then it's already incorporated everything, and this is where we actually want to expand and scale based on and then from that business model, like the financial model, it's actually the finances they're able to see end to end. Even the equity providers, they're able to see how this business is actually going to grow, like in the next 5 years and all of that. And we are even able to say we understand that in terms of the scalability, funding is an issue. We actually going to use that to even knock on the existing big players to say, we know that you've got to have your transformation strategy agenda and also your ESG or triple BE and all of that. We actually knocking because we know that we don't just want to let you give us the benefits, because we are credible, we are business, we are in a growing state. This is the benefit that you will actually get by partnering with us. So let us be part of your database in terms of your ESG, and then whether it be the technical assistance in terms of the grant or funding and everything, because we know that when you use the enterprise development, it's quite cheaper. It tends to be cheaper than the commercial banks. So basically, from the finance point of view, is to making sure that we're having a healthy finances in terms of the working capital management, in terms of the overall funding strategy in the long term, whatever that we need in terms of scaling up business end to end.
I love that. I love the fact that you touched on, you know, I said next year May, but you're already thinking past that with the scalability, right?
Indeed.
All right. From a compliance perspective, legal, what do we need to have in place?
Fortunately, by going into solar energy, you already mentioned that it's not as heavily regulated as other industries. So when it comes to compliance, it's not that stringent. But at every stage, there's a legal process. Contracts will have to be involved, especially when you start growing and you want to now approach more established businesses. You would have to have a contract in place to be taken seriously as well.
So it's that management tool between either when we're a preferred supplier, part of the ESD enterprise development program, or JVing with somebody bigger.
Exactly.
So we need the lawyer. So guys, you need a lawyer. All right. Mezagiti, how do we make sure we are compliant, ESG?
Well, ESG has got to be at the head of your operation. I mean, you can't later on try and implement ESG. So if it's a startup business, make sure that ESG strategy is built in your business plan. Remember that ESG is all about risk management, so you have to put it in there in your business plan. Quickly, on the ESAD environment, well, if you're not manufacturing the components, there's minimal impact on the environment that you are doing. However, you know, the cradle to grave concept,
Yes.
in that as you install these solar panels, share with your customers as to how they could dispose of some of the components, the batteries, etc. Be ahead of the game. On the social side, create jobs. I mean, you are there to create jobs. It's not just for fun. On the governance side, it borders on what Toko has just said now. Be compliant, pay your taxes, because even the banks, before they fund you, they want to know that you are tax compliant. Pay your UIF as well, your skills development levy. Do all of those things, build them into your business, because you have to be compliant.
All right. And Gareth, what is the name of the company?
No, but I'll add a little more value than that.
Yes.
Just in terms of your components that you supply clients, the good thing is most of them have international warranties, and they're warranted for a long period of time. So I'll go through your solar photovoltaic modules. If you go to if you get them from a credible manufacturer, 25-year warranty on that, and it's a 10-year production warranty. So your solar modules are covered. Your batteries also technically have a 5 to 10-year warranty, and your inverter's the same. So the nice thing is, as long as you do a good install job for the client, you know that equipment is not part of your business risk. That's covered separately. And you can give those warranties to the client as well to give them further comfort and credibility.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's a business built on 250,000. Well done. All right, I'm going to open up to quick questions. Yes, we see a question there. We've got another question here. We've got a question there. I see you. So we'll start with you. We'll get yours. And yours. I love it. All right, you can start, sir.
Yeah, just a quick question. My name is Tobile Mushwana. I think your business was still slightly a bit at 40,000 feet above sea level. It was still not so much practical, if I can be frank.
I they had 5 minutes also.
I understand. I'm assuming because it's a business that at least there's a capital. Probably your pre-seed was 250,000. It's a small business. You have already 5 people that are involved in the business. I would have loved to know how much you'd be charging for that 3 to 5 kilowatts per household, just to make it slightly a bit practical. Something that Mr. Chaka has mentioned that you can immediately go out and go and implement if you were to move into a small business today. For instance, if you have land and you have the 250,000. And my question really, it's simply on bringing it down to the ground.
Okay.
I understand the compliance issue. I think we all understand that if you have to go into that kind of business, your compliance will be da. You
Okay.
need to pay as you earn, you need to, all those shebesh that you need to do. But in terms of the practicality of having 250, you spoke about solar panels. Where do you, practically, you're in the business, you probably know 10 or 20 suppliers. And if someone has a funding from CEDA, where can they go buy those solar panels? How much can they sell it for? How much will be the installation? Just like a practical business, if I'm making sense.
So maybe give us an example of a supplier, what you can buy with 250, how much can you sell it at?
And also, just quick one, you said you're going to have a conversation with Standard Bank.
Yes.
You have 250. What's the conversation about? Can we be in the room without being in the room?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll take that, and then you can chime in. With regards to where are the manufacturers? I think we've had a lady who was sitting here. They are manufacturing solar panels, and they are using the resources that we already have, which is sand, to manufacture that. That's number one, locally. Number two, there's quite a long list of solar manufacturers and solar suppliers, which you can find online. I think it's back to what you said. It depends what solar panel you are looking at. It depends on the quality. So we might give you indicative prices for that 3 kilowatt or that 5 kilowatt. Or again, back to market research. We can't just come up with a price. We need to research closely who is our target market, what they are earning. Are they coming from a household that is married or single-parented household? So those factors are important. And I think our facilitator rightfully said it was a 5-minute pitch, and therefore we still need to dig in deeper to be able to give you those most accurate indicative prices for those kilowatt. The second part was Standard Bank conversation. The conversation with Standard Bank will be around allowing us to be able to tap into their clientele, people who bank with them. Again, that conversation will come once we have decided on our target market, and then we'll say, Standard Bank, we are this special baby that was born in 2023 during the Kitabo International Entrepreneurship Week. We need your support. Please, this is the target market we're looking at. From your current database, are you able to allow us to reach out to these people and market our business? That will be probably within the ranges of where we will be operating in the Free State. I hope that answers you.
Which is not a bad idea, because by the time they're with Standard Bank, they've already been approved on a loan again.
Yeah.
So they tap into market.
Yeah.
Gareth?
So-
He's like, nah. Gareth?
So let me just add on to what Yolanda said. So, and I come from an engineering background, so I think sort of in that vein. So firstly, let's just think if it's a pure solar system, we'll just use example 1 and example 2. Pure solar system, let's say it's 50,000 Rand with maybe an inverter. That's a 50,000 Rand install. You'd need to think about what your margin is, your markup, maybe you marking up 20%, 10,000 Rand. So it's a 60,000 Rand install. And if you wanted to do solar with battery, I'm talking small end systems, that's 100,000. Again, 20% marginal markup. So then you're at 120,000. So you're making 10 or 20,000 an install. Those installs should take you. Again, it's back to marketing, what your client base is. You're not going to have a lot of installs to begin with, so that affects your salary. But if you're doing 1 install a week, is it viable to run your business? And your team should be able to install that in 3 days. A two-man team, to be honest, a two-person team. I've got to be very careful here.
I love that.
So that's the one point. The second point is I would Google just top solar equipment suppliers in South Africa or in Bloemfontein or in the Free State, and you would quickly find. The other thing I would do is I would even go and phone some of the big installers and say, oh, where do you get your solar modules or where do you get your equipment from? And then ask them for that information. And I think within a few days' research, you would be able to unpack who are some of the more reputable suppliers in the country, and probably get a price comparison from them as well. So that's my sort of quick
5-minute pitch, please. Yes. Can I actually get both of these questions to come through? There's a question here that hand went up right after his hand. I'll take her, don't worry. Yes.
Afternoon once again. First things first, I'd really like to thank Katabo Media for this opportunity because I've never had to be in a space where I engage in such conversations and take in such information. So this is a new chapter for me and I'm quite excited. So I have tons of questions and some English that was
No, we
shared.
don't have tons of time.
Yes, some English that was shared is not mixed sure, but we'll engage on it very
Perfect.
fast. Gareth, I want to direct this question specifically to you. I just need top 5 things that you think one needs to have to start or to venture into a solar business. And I also want to know what are the opportunities that this type of sector is faced with at this point in time.
Far away.
Just hold on for me. Can we get that question also, then you guys can answer them at the same time? Yes, ma'am. I'll see you.
I've said my name before, but then it's Pusela Mahadi, also marketing director of June July Empire Designs. Being one of the graphic designers and one of the social media managers, I'm having a lot of problem in my company having to design for customers. You know, there'll be a customer who says within 2 minutes or 5 minutes, I need these kinds of designs or banners, like the banners that we see around here. The other day, I had a huge order and I couldn't, of course, make it to the order because it was load shedding. So I wanted to know if it's possible that for us small businesses who are in the Kasi, because we are from the township, us who are trying to build and establish new businesses, how is it that we can be assisted in ways that we don't find ourselves struggling to a point where I have to close my business? Now, having asked that question, are there any ways that we can receive mentorship programs regarding the energy sector that you are telling us about? Are there doors that we can go and knock to for us to get more knowledge on how to be part of this industry? Thank you.
Okay, but you also need to ask if you can be their graphic designer.
Yes, please, of course. We do great work. Check us on our Facebook socials, June, July, Empire Designs.
Yes. Okay. Can we get that question also? I just need all of us to remember the questions. We do, right?
Hello, my name is Khomolemo Mahanwe.
Yeah.
I'm a board member for Maladia Pofung Special Economic Zone. The question is directed to Mema Buto, or the gentleman that side. I just wanted to find out, does South Africa allow us to manufacture low pressure solar geysers? And if so, the second question is directed to the funders. It might be ABSA or Standard Bank or anyone. Do they finance 6 months operating costs and also for their SABS funding?
Okay, perfect. So let's stick to those. I'll come back for another last round of questions. I'll come back. I do see you, sir. So let's start here with this one. 5 top things to be a successful renewable entrepreneur.
Okay. So is this to do a solar installation business? So 5 top things. So price is key, because as you say, you've got competition. So price is key, quality is key, and network, I think, is key, and perhaps some of the other panelists. So for me, you've got to deliver a good product at a reasonable price. And I think you could charge a premium if your workmanship is better than someone else. So for example, I'll just go back to my example for my house. The guy that installed, so we do large scale stuff, so I had to use an external person to do my own solar system. I supplied the modules and that, but my team doesn't do home installs. So I used an independent, and he's still around today, and he's done my parents' house, he's done my sister's house, he's done friends' houses, because he's been reliable, his products are good, his price is good, and he's still in the game. So just for an example, I've given him reference of probably 30 people over the last few years, particularly now. So, and also managing your finances, I think, is very important. Is your markup, and the previous gentleman was alluding to sort of that kind of thing, is how many installations are you? So, and I think it comes back to my point on the business plan, and I'm quite pro a business plan, even if it's a very basic business plan, because it makes you think through what exactly are you doing? How are you doing it? How much is it going to cost? What are you going to make? And that margin, can you don't want to do installations too cheaply, where then, in fact, you can't pay your salary or you can't pay your salary enough. So can you do one installation a week? Are you making 10, 20, 30, whatever thousand from that? Is that covering your salary and your overheads in your company? And I think that's key. So, and back to the marketing as well, is just getting your name out there, either word of mouth. I don't think you need to spend a lot on marketing. Social media is quite cost effective. Also in your area, you can just get brochures printed. I mean, I'm really coming down to base, but I think that's if you can hand that out within your area, within your community, saying, this is the person, and referrals. And then once you get going, as I say, referrals, that is really the way to gain momentum, and it costs you nothing. Each client you have, so just it's just ask them, please refer me.
Yeah.
Please comment on, if you have a website or some form of Facebook page or something, please comment on that and build that.
So it's the power of word of mouth.
Yeah.
So you can just wait until it's dark and which house doesn't have electricity. And then those are your clients. Leaflet under there. Thank you. Maybe we can ask the three of you guys to also just add on, not necessarily just renewable, one thing that will make somebody a successful business person in energy. Just one thing each.
For me, I would say, if you're interested in the space, just immerse yourself with what is there. Energy is complex, granted. There are many facets into it, but you can always find your niche and be clear in terms of, you want to be an employee in the industry, or do you want to be a supplier of goods and services? And if your pocket is deep, you want to participate in the ownership element, it's up to you. But I'm not saying it's easy, but if you have the passion and the good vibe, anything is possible. All of us sitting here, when we were 5, 6, 7 years old, we never knew that we could have the recognition that we do have now. So anything is possible. Those are just my parting words in that. Thank you very much for being here, listening to us. We really appreciate that, and we hope that you have taken something out of what we said. And we are on social media, so you'll find us there.
Tokyo, one thing that we can add to the list of making you a successful entrepreneur in that space?
Firstly, I agree with everything the panelists have said. Consistency in terms of providing good quality service, because referrals do go very far.
Shiko?
Nothing new, but just to really emphasize the collaboration and building the resilience. And when the one door is closed, doesn't mean all the doors will remain closed.
Yeah.
Persistence. That's what I think is critical. One point though, sorry, I think one of the observations that I've actually made is people tend to be kind of too selfish with their business, and then almost like it's me, myself, and I. So it's almost like, say for an example with ownership, I'd rather own this business 100% rather than partnering with Tokyo or with Yolanda, and only to find that actually maybe 3 of us, this is synergy, and it's also give a diverse insight for the business to grow longer versus it's just Shikongomelo's business and that I'm going solo. So something really to give it a thought.
Yolanda, how do we help small businesses kokasi when they're experiencing things like load shedding so that they're not closing down for long hours?
Yeah. If I recall in the previous panel, I think it was Amina who spoke about some items that one can get that can help them to be powered up until the load shedding is over. So those are available, and they could also be another income stream opportunity for you if you want to distribute it. They could also help you during load shedding, at least to have power for 4 hours. You can reach out to Orin. Orin is also, connected in that market. So those are some interim help for load shedding. If you can't afford, of course, the roof top solars, you can use those. I think the second point of the question was the same lady asked another question around how can they get mentorship.
Yes.
Yeah. So in terms of mentorship, during my time at Eskom, I worked for Eskom for almost a decade. I was part of Women in Electricity, and now we are sitting as advisors. So those are some of the platforms you would want to find yourselves in. And we also have PET from Lean In. It's a very amazing circle where you can get information, and what you do with that information depends on you. I think that there are red pamphlets in each desk, so check those out, and also check with me after this. I can connect you with some relevant groups that will help you at least to get information. What you do with that information is then dependent on you.
All right. There was a question about solar geysers. South Africa, we're allowed to install
Manufacturing.
manufacture solar
Manufacturing.
geysers.
So I can answer that. So perhaps I'll just follow on from Yolanda's point as well, and Standard Bank put that on the offer, is that the banks now, including like Standard Bank, have very nice programs for homeowners that you can add on to your bond for a solar system or your business. So you can go and raise a loan if you can't afford the solar system for your business. If you don't have that 50,000 or whatever, you could possibly even get a loan attached to your business and get the funding for that. So I think that's quite attractive, and that's only come to fruition in the last 18 months, I would say. Just on the geyser thing, we have been part of one or two geyser initiatives, solar geyser, as you can imagine. In this case, it was low-cost housing. There is manufacturers in the country that do low-pressure geysers. I do think the challenge is, and I know on the project we dealt with, is you need ideally SABS, South African Bureau of Standards approval. And that's quite a process to get approval of the geysers. But there is no real regulations around producing the low-pressure geysers. I think the main issue is you need to get it to be SABS certified. And I think that's going to be your main challenge. But it's a great selling point.
All right. Her last question was around 6 months operating costs. Do we still have Absa or Standard Bank in the room? Do we have Absa in the room? Okay, Absa, are you able to just give us?
Okay, good afternoon again. From our side, I would say we need to do our due diligence, ne? But basically we do fund, and it's sort of a blended type of financing, because of course we want her as an entrepreneur to also show us that she is like really driving this. So there's a certain percentage, I would say 20%, that we'll need her to dedicate towards, and then maybe the 80% will come in.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right, perfect. We've got 5 minutes left. Then I have to close the session. 5 minutes. I've got one question there. That's the one I'm taking. Going, gone. You have to find them on LinkedIn from now.
All right, hi. My name is Leboga Matulong. I'm a media practitioner. I'm a station manager for Motel FM. Guys, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I liked what the first panel said, because I just missed the second session. I just had to go somewhere. One of the most critical things for me as a media practitioner is information.
Yes.
And information is so pivotal that when you tell entrepreneurs in the room that there's an opportunity, they jump onto the opportunity before they jump onto the information. And for me, that is one of the greatest red flags that are there, and that is why we don't see growth in the economy of this country. Legislation, we are always told about, white papers, inputs, there are group meetings somewhere. What is it that we can do, you as a panel, particularly you take Tokyo, the importance of us becoming part of, legislation, like when it changes, our inputs, how important it is for us as young people, particularly in this economic time that we're in, to help the country, move forward. Because if you are not saying anything as an entrepreneur in this room to those white people, somebody else is going to say something that you don't agree with. How can we enforce or like maybe just maybe not enforce, but help, motivate people to become part of, like legislative changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got the question?
Yes, thank you very much. Can I answer it?
Yes, please do.
So before legislation is passed, it's a bill and it's open to the public for comments. So there's a website, I'm also part of the website, it's called Dear South Africa, Dear SA, that would then notify you of certain legislative changes. There's a bill that's about to be passed. Feel free to pass, bring about or write a comment about it, whether you agree, whether you don't agree. And what they do is they then compile all the comments and then provide it to the relevant person. Because sometimes comment from one person is not heard, but comment from multiple people, of course it's stronger, it's heard, it's loud.
So public participation. So let's participate in all those bills that are put out. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say a huge thank you to our panel. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. You poured out access to information. We've got information today. Access to market, we've been given ideas. And of course, access to finance. We've also, again, been given some interventions that do exist. So if we can just give our panel a resounding round of applause. Thank you very much. Are we taking a picture? Is that taking a one?